Hello and welcome to Daily Records. I am Tommy Burton and we're continuing on with the Record Store Day releases each day in the series right now for the next little while. And talking about Record Store Day releases. The next one is one that a lot of fans of Record Store Day and people were getting a hold of. It is the mono edition of Piper at the Gates of Dawn by Pink Floyd. Those of you that were lucky enough to get your hands on one, we're going to talk about that one today. This is the debut studio album from Pink Floyd. This was their first one. It came out on August 5th, 1967. And this is the only album they made with founding member Syd Barrett. And so the album, Piper, was named after Chapter 7, the title of Chapter 7 of Kenneth Graham's Wind in the Willows. People like me that grew up reading that book. And we're going to crack this thing open. It came in this nifty little box. And we're going to pull it open because inside the box is a poster. And I didn't unfold the poster on my Record Store Day video. But there is a poster in there of the band. There you go. Take a look at that. Now it featured the cover photo. Now inside is the actual album itself, or the jacket, and most people recognize that as the cover. It's got the fake back there, kind of like all the other Pink Floyd reissues that have come out recently. Now this cover photo is photographer Vic Singh who took that, and it had this kaleidoscopic, just kind of psychedelic cover. A lot of people feel like this was one of the first psychedelic albums. The album was produced by an engineer who worked with the Beatles, Norman Smith, and it came out on EMI Columbia in the UK. It came out on Tower Records in the United States. And so it basically came out right around the band first started touring the U.S. There were no singles released on the album. However, the song "Flaming" it was offered as a single, and the U.S. version has a different track list. Now the lineup of the band on here, like I said, Syd Barrett, Roger Waters, bass player, Richard Wright, and Nick Mason. Richard Wright on organ and piano, and Nick Mason on drums. So this is pre-Dave Gilmour. Now, after it came out, it was, as I said earlier, it was kind of hailed as one of the greatest psychedelic rock albums of all time. It came out again in 73, kind of on the success of Dark Side of the Moon, and they paired this with the second album, Saucer Full of Secrets, and released it as called A Nice Pair. And it was trying to get the fans into the earlier work, but there's been releases of this album that's come out pretty much on each anniversary of it. And this album was voted in the top 500 greatest albums of all time, according to Rolling Stone magazine, if those kinds of things mean anything to you. But, there's a lot of people that are familiar with Pink Floyd, particularly the 70s era. I'll show you guys this label. It's on standard black vinyl, but the Columbia 33 1/3. But this is really kind of a different sounding sort of Pink Floyd album. I mean, if you know Dark Side of the Moon or Wish You Were Here or even The Wall, this album's going to sound a little bit foreign to you because this is a late 60s psychedelic rock album. Now, the band kind of garnered this reputation, and thanks in large part to Syd Barrett, that they were a drug band or LSD, an LSD group, that they were kind of associated with that. There's a lot of history there. Poor record deal, and stuff like that. It was kind of a strange debut for a band that would go on to be one of the big bands of the 70s. Now, right before the album was released, there is a single, "See Emily Play," and a lot of people are familiar with that. Now, the B-side of that was Scarecrow, or The Scarecrow, as it's credited on the album jacket. And the band just, based on the strength of that single, and just where people thought this band was going, they grew a large audience playing in the clubs around the UK. And so it's one of those albums, it was like a slow build. And it just it was you know, one of those albums that grew in stature, and now it's, like I said, considered one of the legendary covers now, or legendary albums. Now, talking about the packaging, like I said, it comes in this this box. This was designed by Hypnosis, Aubrey Powell and Peter Curzon. It has the gold embossed version of the graphic here. That's a Syd Barrett graphic, and you know, they kind of put it together. That's a Syd Barrett drawing. Rear cover design is credited there. And so, you know, it was a total experience, this album. And really, the music inside really does reflect what you see on the cover there. So, you know, in some regards, you can most certainly judge a book by its cover, and you can judge a record by its cover. But this is the mono edition. The stereo edition is widely available in most record stores. It got reissued a year or so ago, so you can get that. But as far as sound quality, I mean, this is a very good sounding record. It's got a lot of dynamic. You know, mono records from this period have a really lively sound, good presence. And this one's no exception. So it's today's daily record, Piper at the Gates of Dawn, mono edition, Record Store Day 2018 by Pink Floyd. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter. It's TommyBurton75. I appreciate everyone that watches and comments. And in the meantime, I'll see you all again tomorrow with another daily record.